Radiant team ban. 10 seconds remaining.
What's up, guys, and welcome finally to ESL One Hamburg, South America qualifiers. This is game 1 or 2, I don't know, between Infamous Young and Digital Chaos SA. As you can see, Infamous Young, they do have a win in that little golden slot because DC.SA were only, 50 minutes late to their match. Honestly, they're pretty lucky to be playing right now, but you know what? We got a game. Infamous Young up 1-0. That's all you guys have to know. I'm Mike Loris, going to be joining you in this game with Kefka. Hopefully everything is alright on his end. You still awake, man?
Yeah, I'm still awake. It took a bit longer than expected, so I could get a bit more coffee, so I should be good.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have a little bit of a trip to the South American region, and I'll tell you what, SA Dota is extremely entertaining, sometimes not for the right reasons though. So, I mean, if you're worried about falling asleep, you shouldn't be.
Gonna hope that's the case, because we're already seeing very aggressive heroes, so that's good. I'm hoping that maybe DC will make up for, well, let's say they kinda ruined this evening, so I hope they bring some really good Dota instead. And hopefully that's gonna be pretty good, Spirit Breaker Batrider is aggressive opening. Infamous has a good carry against that though. Lifestealer one of the top 3 at least against Batrider, I'd say, in lane. So
just make sure you have that answer to the napalm stacks. It is also worth noting Nature's Prophet still in, probably along with Puck, some of the bigger heroes that are very frequently first picked / first banned, and as of right now aren't touched. Infamous Young would be the team to pick up an Nature's Prophet if any team, but up against Batrider and Spirit Breaker, that's a really bad idea. So most likely that's just not going to be happening. But yeah, Spirit Breaker, Batrider, this is some pretty standard fare, at least coming out of the SA region. These guys will first pick this every single time. Infamous Young getting, as you said, the Lifestealer, mostly for that Batrider in response, as well as that Rubik, not really super commonly seen in the first pick phase, at least in this region. But we'll see if they are able to get it to work. Usually with an AA, that's like the best way to activate your Rubik, make him aggressive. But he's of course is banned out in the first phase.
Yeah, we're gonna
10 seconds remaining.
especially. I wonder how they're gonna move their lanes, because they didn't pick us Prophet, which I think would have been really good for DC instead of the Batrider. Because Rubik safe lane versus Spirit Breaker Prophet, that's rough, and there's no carries that's good against that. And a Slaughter pick from Infamous, here is like almost forgotten. You see him every now and then, but it's super rare, this hero. Like I rarely see him at all nowadays.
Yeah, it is definitely a rarer selection for the Infamous Young side, but you know what? I like it. I mean, if you just look at what the Slaughter is actually able to do, he stuns, right? With the Rubik, you have now double stun with relocation on that hero, maybe just a little bit. On someone like a Batrider, you got to make sure you keep him stunned and in range, so that's a nice little combo right there. Increases physical damage. Lifestealer is going to love that, and once he gets a Blink Dagger with Lifestealer Bomb inside of him, that's a very, very clean kill, as long as they find someone. Silencer, very easily killed off. Batrider, very easily killed off. Viper, maybe not as much so. Spirit Breaker as well might be a little bit difficult to kill before he's able to charge away, but still, this is going to set up Infamous Young to try to out-tempo this game. DC, though, 2 flyers now as they do pick up the Viper, and they have what looked like to be just really solid lanes, just lanes with heroes that are hard to deal with.
Yeah, they're definitely running a very laning phase heavy lineup so far. Viper, one of the more cancerous mid heroes in that regard. That he's not ungankable, but you can get punished very hard by trying to gank a Viper. While like if you gank a Quap, you're probably not gonna get the kill, but a Viper could turn around 2 versus 1 or a TP in and he gets double kill. Like, so it's pretty scary in that regard. And Timbersaw is pretty rare here as well. He's very good against Viper though, because you don't really care about his corrosive, so you can actually kill him. But it's pretty bad against the 3 others though, so I'm not too confident on this pick, because it's really bad against Battler, the Spirit Breaker, and Silencer in my opinion. So I don't really understand the pick, but so I'm interested to see how it works because of that. So it's always nice to see it in that regard. I hope it just doesn't fall flat like I'm kind of expecting it to do.
It's not really going up against the most strength heroes. You do like the pure damage, of course, to try to cut through that. Viper usually has a lot of health, usually has a lot of resistance, but it does seem like the Timbersaw is not necessarily warranted here. And Timbersaw, as great as he is, just inherently with his tank ability, usually is going to require a little bit more of a need. Like, you need a reason to pick up Timbersaw, or your team desperately needs something, and then the Timbersaw is going to fill that role. Maybe like wave clear, I guess, would be what Infamous are really lacking right now, but DC.SA don't really have any summons, so you don't really need all that much wave clear. Yet still, it's a very tanky hero. DC.SA will not have all that much damage coming out outside of their right clicks. Like, if Batrider for sure has quite a bit, but if you're going to kill someone off as Viper, Silencer, or Spirit Breaker, you gotta be just right-clicking him with those auto attacks. So for Infamous Young's case, maybe just will be just a tank. I mean, it's not really something that you really need to pick up in Dota, but if Timbersaw is just unkillable, then he will end up doing a lot of damage regardless of the primary attributes of the DC.SA side. We do have Ursa and Razor now taken out, as Infamous Young will protect their Timbersaw and the Lifestealer with that Ursa ban. Pretty smart one and pretty easy one to make for them.
Yeah, I think Infamous lineup is kind of weird, but if they pick a nice hero in their last pick, I think it could maybe round up very nicely. I'm not too confident on the Timbersaw, and they also picked a Slaughter, which I'm like kind of unsure on. And already the opening with a Rubik, it's like, it doesn't seem too coherent, but the last pick could just solve everything at the same time. Unfortunately for them, they don't have their like final last pick, so DC.SA are in a pretty good position in my opinion. I think they have a lot of options in their hero. They just need a hero that's good against Timber in lane, more or less. So I'm expecting it to be an offlane Timber, but it's not. It's gonna be a Darkseer, which is weird because they banned Ursa, but that's okay.
Well, Darkseer with the Surge is pretty good up against that Viper, decent versus the Spirit Breaker and the Batrider as well, and maybe it's not like Darkseer Spirit Breaker or Darkseer Bounty Hunter as far as the Ion Shell combos are concerned, but being able to apply Ion Shell to any one of these other melee heroes, just start running down some of the softer heroes of DC.SA at this point as you're just looking at Silencer, is certainly powerful. And for DC.SA, having a Silencer and a Spirit Breaker will of course depend on what their last pick is, but there's a chance that the Darkseer may just get a lot out of the lane. If it's like a CK or something along those lines, or a Medusa.
Well,
okay.
That's a mid Medusa, right? And it's gonna be a Viper safely, I'm assuming.
Attune usually plays the mid lane for DC.SA, and he's currently on the Viper, but I don't know. Medusa's definitely one of those comfort heroes. You want the person playing it to be the most comfortable person with Medusa, like regardless of where they usually go. So I'm not really sure what it's going to be for right now. Everyone else is pretty standard on the DC.SA side, and well, Infamous Young, Darkseer, his combos certainly are there. Vacuum with Slardar, with Lifestealer, I mean with Timbersaw. These are some pretty sick combos that Infamous Young can, at least sometimes hypothetically, pull off if they're able to answer this Silencer. Global Silence up against Timber, up against Darkseer. Even just protecting your allies up against an Infest Bomb is not too bad. So DC.SA with these really tanky cores, I think might be difficult for Infamous Young unless they get a fast blink on that Slardar.
Yeah, that's the issue I see with Darkseer last pick especially. Like, yeah, you can combo with Darkseer's Slardar, and you don't have the greatest follow-up though. You have okay, but Silence is gonna break that. So you don't have a like insta kill. You know, if you get a 4-man Vacuum Slardar stun, it doesn't mean you're winning the team fight, which is usually the case. So I'm super worried about Infamous lineup. But I think the laning phase will determine a lot, as it always does. and then the mid game we'll see if either drop kind of has a weakness. I think DC.SA lanes could be exploitable, especially their safe lane. So it's gonna determine a lot going into mid game.
Well, if anyone just coming into this game is gonna see the teams, they would have a pretty quick favorite in their mind. DC.SA, certainly one of the better teams in the SA region. I would say them and SG Esports, probably teams you would expect to rise to the top. Infamous Young, certainly no slouches themselves, but as far as consistency is concerned, you gotta go with DC.SA, despite being 50 minutes late, which I guess is not quite consistency, but you know, we're talking about playing Dota, not arriving to Dota, so we'll see if Infamous can kind of cheese this one out and try to beat DC.SA in these lanes, try to get an early advantage, and then with a super farm Slaughter, get this Lifestealer going, they can certainly out-tempo DC.SA and keep this Medusa from seriously farming, but as long as DC.SA hold their lanes, they don't necessarily even have to win them, I think. They just have to not lose them. And I still would favor DC.SA just on the basis of raw skill level, but it looks like we will have, actually, you know, safe lane Medusa, Attune, the mid lane player, is playing Viper. King RD is going to run to Slardar. There's a crush, and the Rubik is here as well. They only really have right clicks. Telekinesis is available. It's time to cast it. There it is. We'll drop him right behind the Slardar with another crush. They'll get first blood. Charge is coming in from I don't know where, but it was certainly too far away. Matthew better off canceling that one, and that is something you just don't expect. The sneaky tree gank onto the ideal target as well, so it is going to be first blood for Infamous, as now they see the Medusa, and now they know that maybe this is a lane they could actually exploit. Medusa may be ranged, but she doesn't really have all that much to throw in order to defend someone like a Silencer. Even the Spirit Breaker might need some defense as well, because there's an Ion Shell on the Slardar. And, I mean, Spirit Breaker's tanky, but I don't think he could out-trade with an Ion Shell, and especially when there's backup right around the corner.
Yeah, so actually, first I was gonna be like, Slardar should have gotten the first blood, you know, he's the 4. But now Rubik's gonna boot, and Slardar gonna boot. Only those two can more or less even chase down the Medusa if he's alone. So I think it ended up being the perfect hero to get the first blood. And not sure if this is what the famous wants though, to kind of have a tri-lane, because I feel like Viper is gonna be super strong mid. Rubik! Oh, he tried to bait them in so he could cliff them. That was pretty smart. That's a SA play, I feel like. Just stopping and just standing there like, come at me, I'll throw you up.
He's still trying. He's still trying to get them close to this cliff. Is gonna get charged one more time, but that's not in range. So he's just gonna take a ton of damage from this curse. There is a rotation from the Viper, so Wu one hit away from death. Roshan, it's gonna be close. Oh, not quite. King RD does get the last hit with the curse. But I think the telekinesis may have come out after the curse, which doesn't exactly help there either. So a truly SA play, as you said, trying to go for the baits, and even if you get the lift up on the Spirit Breaker, he has charge. Like, he actually doesn't care about being clipped.
I don't know. That was super weird. Oh, I think Timber might die here actually.
Poison
he's
attack.
Very tanky, but poison attack and Nerdy is gonna start doing even more damage. Oh my god, the 17.
I think that bash may have just killed him. With no bash there, he would have gotten a little bit further in trees. Still with the salve. Not incredibly useful in that situation, but may have given him just a little bit bump of HP. Ganking a Timbersaw mid is not incredibly easy, but now Viper level 4 versus the level still 3 of the Timbersaw, and they've rotated all these supports out of that top lane after giving over a couple too many kills. And I said DC have to not lose the lanes. They don't necessarily have to win them, but it looks like they'll just go ahead and win them. Viper is doing just fine in his lane. Top lane Medusa, maybe not the best hero to deal with Ion Shells, but certainly can handle herself. So this is looking pretty decent so far for DC.SA.
Yeah, but still, like, I don't understand how they drafted them into a position where this could happen with the Timber. And like the Darkseid last pick, I don't think that hero is a very strong offlaner right now. He seems kind of weak. And then you put this Timber mid, who's gonna get wrecked by Viper most likely. And Slaughter is probably gonna get out, even though there's no Spirit Breaker chasing him. But it might turn out to be okay when we go into the game, and it might not be that bad. But from my point of perspective, it seems like a big weakness to drop like this.
We still have Benjaz just doing his thing on the bottom lane. FaZe Boots on the way, and he's pretty much exactly where you want to be as a life stealer. Ton of denies, ton of CS. Charge.
Yeah, charge the creep.
How does that happen?
Did he want it?
Intimidation charge?
Okay, no, I think, okay. So Timbersaw was in fog and he charged to get top rune. I'm assuming that's the fake.
Oh, another charge. They cancel the Timber Chain.
Oh, that was so good.
I think that might have been the plan the entire time. Just make the Timbersaw think, hey, this idiot used charge on a creep. What a moron. I'm just gonna stay on the creep wave. And then he charges again in from behind and pushes him back towards the Viper. I mean, Matthew has been playing a lot of.
I will give him credit for that, even if it wasn't his intention. We'll give him that. Also, he went Empowering Haste level 3, which is interesting. I feel like a lot of people don't get this until late, and I don't know what's good either, though. I'm just making a note on that.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time it's going to be 201. For this game, though, he still has options everywhere. Tekka on this bottom lane, trying to fly away, will get lifted up. Banyas has another rage. The damage to the Fade Bolt will be enough. Batrider was forced out of lane much earlier. He's going to return, thinking he's fine, pushing the level 5 mark, but is going to be proven wrong. FaZe Boots on Lifestealer. Honestly, FaZe Boots on any core in this bottom lane, which makes this Batrider's life very difficult, but still, Banyas still maybe doing quite well for himself. The second death of the Timbersaw is pretty darn costly. Like, a big reason why you put him in that mid lane to begin with is just because he's so hard to kill off, but clearly not invulnerable in that mid lane.
I don't think it's a big issue though. He's doing very good in last hitting. I feel like he's kind of dying to make sure he gets farmed in a weird way, you know? He's like, I might die here, but I'm gonna be efficient with my gold and not lose it while I die, and I'm gonna get everything from the lane, which he's doing. So I don't think it's a big issue, because Viper isn't really a hero that takes insane advantage from this kill. Like, he's not pressuring the tower on Viper, you know?
This Viper build, though. What year is it again?
I mean, this is what I liked about how I like to see my Viper mid still, even though it's kind of a old school build. The mirror, I think it's a no, it's a miracle build.
The miracle
I don't remember who did it. I don't remember who did it.
Maybe at some point. I don't think he like pioneered it. The Viper Strike is going on to Timbersaw. He does have the Chakram out, and the Viper's just sitting in it. The damage coming in from Matthew, and now another one is out of mana. The curse. It's going to be enough to kill him off. Here comes a double damage Slardar. Is that going to be enough? With the Fade Bolt, it will be. They will have another charge in just 1 second. Matthew setting up for another kill. Telekinesis is going to cancel the stun just in time from Wu. So there's a lot of damage going on to the Slardar with that curse. I don't think it's going to be lethal damage. That is how you use Telekinesis. That is what Ice Frog has in mind with that spell. Use a stun on one to stun a couple more. It's going to be the Timbersaw dropping in favor of DC first, but still, that turnaround was much needed for Infamous.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, Darkseer, are you dead? He's very low. He's gonna be a bash as well, so I wasn't. This Spirit Break is doing work. He's going Short of Darkness now. Okay, I'm just trying to note the build because I haven't played this here a lot, and I feel like people like to go Greater Bash because it increases ultimate damage, you know. So it's a like weird people do different things. But Batrider is gonna struggle on bottom lane now. I don't think he should be in the lane. He can do this to hide, but he should never contest the lane.
Uh-oh. Caught. The open wounds now. There's no escape. There's a Telekinesis right around the corner, and they got him. He's super dead. Who's gonna take it? It's gonna be Banyas, although I saw that Wu. I saw that attempt for right clicks, kill steal.
I mean, he could have Fade Bolt if he wanted it. He did not. Actually, earlier it was pretty impressive. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when they killed him earlier down here, he used Fade Bolt like right before Benja's lost auto attack. So like the Fade Bolt did enough damage so that the next right click killed him. So Ben just got the kill, which is those plays make a lot of difference if you do them consistently. Who gets the kills and not.
Especially when you're looking for these timing-based items. FaZe Boots is a good start. Armlet for sure is another item that is just insane early on, and as you push forward into the late game, it gets slightly worse and worse. They're going to get the Darkseer in a corner on top lane. Snake's going to be bouncing off the creeps. Giving KRD another stack of int, another kill for the team. Darkseer feeling himself a little bit too much up here.
Oh,
Viper?
Is
he dead?
Mechanism
value? There is an arcane rune on the Timbersaw, but he doesn't have that much mana. He's also being charged. He's now surrounded as the Batrider tech has arrived with the lasso. They're gonna take him down, and Viper will live. It's an old build, but it certainly checks out. You are so tanky already as Viper, now even tankier with that mech. I guess now he goes for like Power Treads, Dragonlance, standard stuff. Like, he already has what he needs.
He's getting a stick before boots. No, never mind, he sold it. I don't know how we transition. I think he goes Midas after this. I'm gonna guess that's it. He might go Threads and a stick, but I'm kind of thinking he will get a Midas in his build as his next big item, you know.
It does make sense. Like, Mechanism is built up on heroes like Darkseer, who can farm with Ion Shell. They don't really need a lot of right-click damage. In fact, right-click damage on Darkseer is pretty bad, so to get it on a hero like Viper, who is, yes, tanky now, but also reliant on right-clicks, is going to definitely smooth over his power curve with that Midas. Bottom tower, though, attempted by Infamous Suspenders, does have that armlet, but it will not succeed. It will see the Batrider off to the side, and with double Ion Shells, they have a chance here, as long as Firefly... Oh, they actually get stunned by the Centaur! With a Surgeon! They'll miss the crush. Okay, that could have been so sweet. Instead, they're also going towards the mid lane. Matthew here doesn't have another strike, but there is a Viper Strike and regular bashes. That Timber Chain is going to do so much damage to the Timbersaw with that curse on him. He's got to get up to the high ground, then he's a chance, but not much of a chance. Another kill. Timbersaw still just disrespecting the Spirit Breaker. His vision is actually not that bad. Like, some near the Dire Secret Shop, some near the top rune. And still, they're not able to protect this mid lane. They will lose the Batrider top lane finally, as Infamous do get that. But, man, Spirit Breaker's doing, I think, so much more than he really should be able to, given the vision of the Radiant.
Matthew, he went Tranquilus. Very interesting stuff on this Spirit Breaker. I'm just watching him right now because he's doing the most, you know, unique stuff. I guess Tranks isn't super uncommon. I think he might die. Timbersaw doesn't have a lot of mana though, like no arcanes yet. Yeah. So you lost pick Darks here and put Timber mid, even though I mean Timber offlane is not that great either. But I feel like that would have been better than this case. And you got a strong mid, you know. But now Darkseer kinda fed a little bit. He died 2 times and didn't get a good laning, while your Timber mid fed a lot. I wonder if you could have just picked a mid hero and kinda helped the Timber a little bit for the offlane. But I mean, this hero is not meta. I don't know if they played it more and they know that like, it's actually a horrible offlane, you can't play it anymore. But that seems like potentially a better option what happened here in this game so far.
The pool of mid lane heroes that is gonna have a really good matchup versus Viper with Spirit Break rotations is not that deep. Like, Razor was banned out at the very end, so you know, I kind of understand. Maybe that's just like a hero pool limitation here coming out from Infamous Young, that they don't really have any hero to counter this, which is understandable for sure. It's difficult to counter, but still, they need this Timbersaw to stop dying. They need to start mixing in this Lifestealer, which is a little bit earlier than Lifestealer would really like, since Blink Dagger on Slardar is actually not too far away. This tower kill is certainly going to help out a lot, but it is starting to get to a point for Infamous where they need to start landing combos, vacuums, and walls, and infest bombs, stuff like that. Just try to get this Timbersaw involved and try to just catapult him towards that Bloodstone. Although, is this not a Bloodstone build? We have a Mechanism and we have a Hood being built up by the Timbersaw.
A mech?
A Mechanism on Darkseer and Timbersaw. Getting the Hood.
I mean, I think this is the standard, kinda. I think, or the standard is that you go Soul Ring and you get Hood, and then you're unkillable, and then you stand in a side lane. That's like the build that people used to do. You have to kind of pick up Arcanes, because you can't play without Arcanes for too long. And since your Hood is gonna be delayed so much, you have to pick up the Arcanes to keep up farming speed. And then I guess it goes Hooded away. I think it's fine. Not sure how they're gonna transition from this though. They got the top tower, so Darkseer is starting to show his power. Also, I think Darkseer inflated the Slaughter's network. If we look at Slaughter, he's super close to Blink.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a result as of picking the Darkseer, more so than Slaughter in a hero in itself. So that makes sense in how you pick it. And Timber can defend lanes pretty well, and then you have team fight and pick up from everyone else. So that's a very interesting aspect of how they drafted this.
And it's unfortunate that for Infamous Young, that bottom lane tower got denied. So with that tower destroyed properly from Infamous, Blink Dagger would be up by now on the Slaughter. He should still have it locked up, although there is a Haste Rune and a Blink Batrider not too far away. This is a huge item timing for a support Slaughter.
Medusa is super farm as well. I did not realize he had this much network.
Oh, they're gonna jump in, lasso the Rubik, and drag him so far away from help. They'll take him down in an instant. But yeah, Medusa's been pretty quiet in this game. 2 assists just on like Darkseers that are a little bit too aggressive, but HFN like always finds his farm. It's not too uncommon to see DC.SA kind of lose out a little bit in the early game, and then by just like 5-10 minutes of time, then suddenly HFN is busting out with easily 6 slots of items. Isn't quite going to be the same since DC.SA are ahead right now, but Mask of Madness, pretty much the norm on almost all given carries. It's on Medusa this game, and for clearing, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, he's gonna, I think they stacked a bit for him, but he's farming a lot more than I thought he would manage to. So, bottom lane, nah, there's no lasso. That was a long TP. I think Ben just got super scared actually, because they just TP'd in with someone else in mid tower, and then he TPs and it's super long, like you get super worried. Let's see if the Slaughter Blink Dagger gets more value than the Batriders, because I think killing the Rubik was kind of like, I just want a kill with my Blink instead of getting a valuable kill. You didn't try and get anything, a tower or something with that kill, you just got a free kill. Yeah, no Shrine up here though, so if they ward up here, this could be a huge pickup.
Especially since HFN still has that Berserk on him, so he's going to take a little bit extra damage. Global Silence is there, but the charge comes in beforehand, and that's going to be pretty bad. They failed to burst down HFN. In fact, he takes literally no damage. Wall drops, and it's kind of wall out the rest of DC.SA, but already the Slaughter initiation has been botched. Benyaz on the way out with the Surge is going to get chased down with the lasso, and he's going to fall as well. That Global Silence response with that charge, impeccably timed, and now they have Wu in their sights. Is he going to steal charge? No, that's Empowering Haste. That is definitely not his escape. That is, in fact, his doom in the trees, and that's going to be a 3 kill. Ultimately, Medusa loses 600 mana tanking that gank. Really was supposed to do a little bit more damage than that, but Lifestealer not quite at his Desolator. The backup is not really super high damage, and DC were there in an instant, so that is going to be a little more intelligence for Silencer, but a lot of extra gold for the Medusa. Med style right around the corner for her.
One blink was a kill, and the other blink was a team wipe. Unfortunately, not the way the Slaughter intended it to be. I guess it wasn't a team wipe, but everyone who was there died except the Darkseer who got out. Timber was farming though, so his network is climbing. But I feel like DC.SA, they kind of have like the late game here, you know, in Medusa, but they're winning early game pretty hard as well. It's not like they're just winning; they're kind of destroying the early game right now. So it's gonna be a big issue for Infamous, and the only solution they really have is having a super farm Lifestealer and then having Slaughter jump in and just straight up kill Medusa. But at this point, that seems very far-fetched.
With Global Silence and Batrider and Spearbreaker for kind of covering that Medusa, with the fact that the Stone Gaze does cut through the rage of the Lifestealer and can actually petrify him, even though he may be quote-unquote magic immune. It does seem like that's like, yeah, what they kind of have to start relying on. Like maybe they can just ignore the Medusa, but she has Mask of Madness. Like it's such a tantalizing target. It's like, hey, she's taking more damage. She can't cast more spells. We should probably kill her, but if you do try to kill her, you'll fall short. If you don't try to kill her, well, she has Mask of Madness, so you're gonna take a lot of damage. No good solutions for this Medusa with just a Lifestealer. Infamous will lose yet another tower as DC.SA maybe getting a little bit aggressive now with this Medusa because they can. Usually we see teams wait a lot longer because they can't afford to push, but certainly they can now. Charge coming in towards Wu up towards top will be cancelled. but they're just leaving a tune on this bottom lane, this Viper.
Are they? Oh, I thought they were gonna go Roche when they ran in there, but he thought he might have been joking. So Midas on Viper is up, he did decide to go it. I think he was kinda hesitating on it, but eventually went on it. Slardar has DS.SA incoming, right? Yes, it's on the courier. So they could try and look for a Roche, but it's not that fast even with Slardar yet. They kinda need level 2 haste, I'd say, and a medallion, but the only one who has a medallion is Spirit Breaker. Darkseer, can a better catch up? Oh, it's gonna be close.
Yeah, he's dead. He turned around, hesitated on the retreat. He didn't know exactly what was coming. Now he's gonna be dropped by Tekka. Immediately TP towards the shrine because there's two heroes that try to go for King RD. Really, they tried to go for that with a Slardar and a Rubik. I guess Timbersaw was kind of in the area, but Global Silence out and a quick TP back. DC.SA get 2. And now for sure, they can't kill off Roche. They definitely need their entire team there. But it does seem like in order for Infamous to get that Roche objective, they need a pick off beforehand. You're going up against Global Silence, Stone Gaze in the pit, as well as a Bat Rider. Like, you can't afford to mess around with those spells, so they need a lot more than they have right now. And even though, yeah, the Darkseer is doing not too bad in his net worth, Guardian Greaves around the corner for him. Just get rid of that Global Silence effect, and Timbersaw is now starting to bulk up. These items are just coming in a little bit too slowly. They need more damage items as well, and no one's going to be able to address this Medusa.
But they're like playing on the Timber getting big, right? That seems to be their strategy, so to say. But that seems like a pretty weak strategy looking at this game. Like, the Timber won't kill the Medusa realistically. Like, he won't like have any good way of killing the Medusa rather. Oh, or how do you find a Viper? He does not have a 4-step yet, so he can't really...
There's a full 5-man here. Banyaz is looking for a second target.
That's a big kill. That's a huge kill. They can get a tower here maybe. Are they roaching? They could actually do it. This is the global down. Oh, yeah, this is such a good timing. This is the dream play right here.
That is
no lasso. No lasso is up now, but global is down. Medusa is not really enough good fighting.
Do you see this? Did you see that from the Darkseer? That was...
I'm watching. They're smoking to contest this.
Well, the illusions are in the mid lane.
They have no vision outside. They have no ward on in.
Oh, now the Stone Gaze. The crush is going to be there as they do vacuum back 3, but the Darkseer does get petrified, so he can't drop the wall. Now the lasso in onto the sideline. Slardar, he's going to drop before doing anything. Wu, though, has stolen the Stone Gaze, which is going to petrify DC with true damage from the Timbersaw. They'll clean up one, looking for a second. They'll get him as well. Tekka will leave, and then they'll leave HFM to his own devices. Telekinesis is not up yet. The damage is nowhere near enough. But that's steal from Wu.
That was a god play. I didn't even notice. Like, it was so weird. Like, it's like you see, there's nothing happening from DC.SA. You don't realize what, and then you realize he stole the Stone Gaze.
It's because you don't see Stone Gaze. You hear it first.
Yeah.
And once you hear it once, you're not gonna look for it a second time. And DC sure as hell didn't realize that. But Stone Gaze, the way it works, of course, is that everyone's facing towards him because they're looking towards the Roshan pit, and it makes you take no magic damage. But you know what? Timbersaw doesn't do a lot of magic damage. He's all pure damage, so he's just tearing through people in the meantime. So that steals, that almost single-handedly wins Infamous that fight. Not to mention the fact they took down Roche, so they also have Aegis for Banyaz in the future.
If they can win one more fight, then they are in a really good position. They're still behind, I'd say, especially, but I think DC.SA might get scared and go for 5-man play, and maybe Famous will just get ahead slowly that way. Are you finishing this?
Charging will be cancelled, and
empowering haste.
Oh, Woo. That Nether Strike range is ridiculous, man. That was so far beyond this circle, but either way, still gonna be a kill.
Like when you, it's so weird. When you start it, it doesn't stop, but I think it stops sometimes when it runs out. I'm not sure how it works exactly. It's kind of weird.
It's one of the mysteries in Dota with Clockwork Cogs and Tusk Shards.
Yeah, Slaughter. We saw this power of Slaughter at least in this game. Now it kind of makes any hero killable, no matter what, like almost exclusively. With a hero like Knight, you basically have kill potential on any hero in the game. And even though you're like 5-6k behind, you get a kill on a core hero like Viper, you know he's ahead, he's dead for. Okay, they're actually fighting this.
He's going really far in. He may have an Aegis but his friendly Timbersaw does not have a lot of mana. Crush is going to whiff as well. Charge goes back in towards Silencers. They drop the Global Silence. They do Guardian Greaves, and with a huge Vacuum Wall, will do a little bit of damage here, but there's no real follow-up to this one. Timbersaw a little bit slow on the uptake. Benyaz is trying to go for a tune. Will take him down, as now the Chakram return is going to do quite a bit of damage to the Timbersaw, but he misses his entire combo again. Another one, misses another one, and will be dropped. Now Benyaz is back. He's going to go for King RD. The Silencer will be abandoned by his teammates. So far, a 2-for-2 with Aegis, but everyone else from DC will get out of there. Again, incredible Darkseer play with the Vacuum Wall. But I think that timing was such that there was still Global Silence remaining there, so he can cast the spells, but no one else really could.
I was so surprised Infamous Young went for that play. I was so confident they weren't gonna fight that right there, that I didn't even realize the fight was going on until Nyx was almost 20% HP, because the Timber did not have mana. He had Bloodstone money, so he could have went and bought the Bloodstone. So like, you don't want to fight then when he's just about to pick it up. And that was a really awkward place to fight, and it could have been amazing though if Slaughter got a stun off on that Vacuum. It seemed a bit sloppy from Infamous Young, but it was not a big loss. I think it was a good play from DC.SA, but I think it was pretty even team fight overall, and Lifestealer is doing a lot of damage though. He got an EC now, so he's kind of scary, especially for the Viper. I think Viper has to respect this Lifestealer right now.
Maybe next time Slaughter can land the Crush. Perhaps next time
I like this fight a lot more though if they go now, if they smoke up.
Yeah, the Vacuum Wall is up. There is no Global Silence.
Global.
There is a charge in. Smokes will break. Slaughter gonna jump in. Trying to focus down the Medusa. Not an easy task. He'll manage to style out. Now another Vacuum Wall. Onto 5 again. HFN will go down this time. And Attune will shortly die afterwards. That's 3 down. Looking for more. Matthew should charge away. I don't think they can interrupt this. But oh my god. That Vacuum Wall combo. Kefka said that Darkseer isn't good. I know you're meant about the lanes, whatever, man. But still, that was 2 consecutive 5-man wall vacuums, and that's what I meant earlier when I said Infamous do have what it takes to beat these teams, but they're so inconsistent that it's like coin flip every single time. We've seen gross misplays from Infamous. We've also seen gross plays from Infamous. It's a coin flip, and it looks like it's so far turning out pretty well for the Radiant.
That's a Dota in a nutshell, right? This is the thing is, Nyx has a pure right-click build, like Deso or AC. Like that here is a right-click hero, but sometimes you go like a bit different stuff. But this is like a kill Viper and kill buildings kind of a build. And with a Slaughter as well, I thought they were gonna push more. I think maybe they should have. Yes, it's a bit risky. They don't have any defensive heroes, so it's gonna be super scary. The Darks has a gem as well, so you don't want to risk high ground when you have a gem.
The Global Silence was down before, and he is going to be kind of aggressed upon. Battle
Slaughter
force, but guess is wrong. Thought the Lifestealer went south, but Lifestealer's walked down the lane. And that is going to be that. Now they're looking to reinitiate. This time, though, into Global Silence. Slaughter does not have a way of purging that off of him, though he is going for the Yule Scepter to give himself a little bit more time to get rid of that silence effect.
So risky. Timber got mana now at least. That's what's been the determining factor. Oh, they're chasing Silencer? Ah, too bad.
No.
If they kill Silencer, I think they win fights. But he has a Ghost Scepter, so if he Ghost Scepter the right as he gets stunned, that's a failed initiation from Infamous Young.
Infamous don't have any Diffusal Blades to get rid of that. No real way on anyone ever, so yeah, they'll just have to accept it. With Global Silence now up, DC have a chance of kind of turning things around on those Darkseer plays. But for right now, this Lifestealer still is, leading the way for his team in net worth. Still behind the Medusa, yes. But this Viper in second place in net worth is still a Viper. He still can do quite a bit of damage, but with this build has gone for a very defensive, very slow damage build on this hero. So though he is 10k net worth, it does seem like Attune doesn't really have 10k value worth of Viper, right? Because he's gone for this mech.
Yeah, the mech didn't pay off too much this game. What the heck is Timbersaw doing?
Timbersaw is...
He has a staff of Wizardry in his backpack randomly while he's building pipe.
Ags?
I mean, then you'd buy the hood first. I mean, the pipe first, and then
Radiant's
over.
bottom tower is under attack.
This is. I mean, it's not a disaster, but this is not very good. Very good to do. It's a very bad thing, and it could cost you a lot. You're 1k off your timing because of that. So I wonder if they like play differently because of it. Doesn't seem like it though.
Well, pipe is decent versus DC.SA, but it's not going to be an end-all ability. The magic damage in DC.SA is limited, let's say. So pipe, no pipe, it's not really going to win or lose them a fight as much as execution and positioning will. That's for sure. Another one is just chopping through all the trees. He is going to get grabbed. He does have that hood. Global Silence is there. The Lifestealer jumps in with the Slaughter, but Slaughter can't crush. And now Benya is just stunned up the entire time with the Viper Strike as well. Vacuum Wall this time drops on his 2 heroes. Will drop everyone else from DC back. As the Slaughter is going to buy out. Did get picked off in the midst of that, but that Global Silence timing perfectly counters that Slaughter's initiation. There's another Infest in 10 seconds, but there's no Vacuum Wall. DC also don't have that Global Silence, though. I'm not really sure if this is... I mean, the tower's so low, so I guess they'll get it for free. But going for more is a bad idea. Think about it, there's no lasso on this Bat Rider, but with no Infest bomb prepped, I don't see this going well for Infamous.
Oh, there's a DD top actually. But they can't really go high ground though with that. Oh, Roche is up. Well, that's I think that's lucky. I'm pretty sure that's an early spawn.
Well, at any rate,
that makes Slaughter's buyback worth it suddenly.
Yeah, double damage and Roche at the same minute. It is scanned by DC, and they are sending out a couple of Medusas to check it out. But I don't think these illusions are going to get all that much done. They will see it, and they unfortunately can't kill Steel Roche because that's not how illusions work. They will jump in onto the Silencer, but what are you doing, Slaughter? You have no backup here. Now the grab onto the Darkseer. He does have a vacuum. He does not have a wall, though. Benyaz just struggling to look for a target. Will finally get on top of the Bat Rider because he got lassoed by the Rubik, but HFN is the one they have to deal with. He still has a Stone Gaze. Benyaz has to turn tail and run. Another one, same exact thing. He's the one who actually picked up the Aegis, so Timbersaw will die once here. Benyaz does not have the same cover. He may get the cheese off, but his allies are dropping really rapidly, trying to go for a tune. With the vacuum coming back in, maybe they can take down this Viper, and they will with the Whirling Death. Benyaz still standing strong after he consumed the cheese, but he's not going to be able to chase after Matthew. There's no vacuum for another 20 seconds. We'll have to let him go. That's going to be Aegis down, cheese as well. HFN actually kind of stuck behind, but the Chakram is way off the mark. Nowhere near connecting. It's going to be quite a few losses there for Infamous. They do get something, at least, but it doesn't seem like this Slardar is quite on the ball as far as timings are concerned. If you have a Lifestealer in there, maybe, but by yourself, come on, man.
That was so forced. He lost all his own net worth. Like, he got the blink at pretty early, like 14, yeah. Seems reasonable, and now he has Tranquils and a stick more. He had brown boots when he picked it up, I remember. And he cost the Timbersaw, I guess, and the Knight Cheese. So that cost a ton. The entire advantage from his own buyback, he kind of threw back. The pretty clutch play by the Batrider to realize like what's gonna happen. So he blinked on Timbersaw, I think. So he like kept the fight going by not settling for a Slaughter kill.
Ultimately, killing Slaughter, not killing Slaughter, that doesn't really matter all too much for DC. It's all about those other more heavy damage dealing heroes. So it's for sure the right call there for DC, and an ill-advised call for Infamous. The wall catching like as many heroes as it has been catching is certainly what's giving Infamous the chaos, the manpower in order to win those fights. And going in like that is just not the right call. DC now still with a slight gold lead. Is actually not as much as you might expect given the game state right now. It's just upwards of 1k. It's not all that bad for Infamous as long as they are able to perform at the level they were performing about 5 minutes ago. They can certainly bring this one back.
This is a very close game. Like, this is a very 50-50 game so far. Medusa's power though is getting scary, but Viper is a very weak hero in this position, in my opinion. Like Viper as a like a secondary carry is not good when he's this far behind. He's kind of like the carry who wants to be like a one with your other one. He doesn't want to be a two like this now. And I think that's a big issue going, maybe not late, but going for the next 15 minutes. And while Timber, on the other hand, he's fine in this position. He's same now for his Viper. He's probably doing twice as much in the team fight if he plays properly. And so that way, Infamous has a bit of a nicer team fight and like hero synergy. But Batrider initiation power is super scary, and they don't really have anything to counter it. They have no Lotuses to try and make a sick play or anything like that. It's only up to Rubik's reaction, basically. And he has a 4, so it's hard.
Here it comes. Force staff a little bit too slow to save the Darkseer right now, though he's not taking all that much damage. Crush onto a lot. Wall's a little bit delayed, though, because he gets silenced. So close to being great for the Darkseer, but it's not going to do it. And now Benjaz in a lot of trouble. Timbersaw is here with a little bit of that pure damage, but Benjaz, he's taking a long time to go down. Another crush onto 2 heroes as they will jump into the Slardar and panic smoke away. But the Timbersaw, he already used his Yule Scepter. Timber Chain was canceled. Still silenced, still silenced. 20 stacks of armor, not going to do it. Doesn't suicide either. They saved the Lifestealer. But DC.SA, they deploy the Global Silence at the perfect time. Again, combo breaking that Darkseer, preventing that what would have been 4-man vacuum wall combo. And I think Infamous win that fight if that comes out. Are unable to make it happen, and that's going to be another set of kills here for DC.SA. Initiation, vision. It almost seems like gold doesn't even matter compared to just reaction times of Infamous, which was a little bit lacking.
Yeah, it's very hard against the global, especially when your supports are this under farm. Like if Rubik had farm or Flutter farm, one of those could have a Lotus, and they could maybe counter that, and the Darkseer would get the wall off, and that would mean the team fight would be won for Infamous, most likely. But the buyback from Slaughter and stuff like that really keeps them limited in their options, and they kind of have to play in this weird way where they lose a team fight when DC.SA have global, and then they look for a team fight right away, you know. That's like the only way to play, more or less, for them.
HFN
Medusa
is going to blow the smooth smoke, but what was that? Slardar.
I think he's getting a bit nervous here.
Yeah.
It's costing them a lot. The position 4 is probably the most important role generally nowadays. I think 4 and 3 are the 2 most important roles right now. And the most important role is always on the initiator. And Slaughter is the initiator here.
You know what happened? The Rubik force-staffed him in to get the blink, but he force-staffed him into the Firefly.
Oh.
So that was not on you, Slardar. Apologies. This is, though, on the Timbersaw, in the middle of nowhere. Does have a Yule Scepter to buy himself a little bit more time. Again, not that much damage coming out of this Batrider since the pipe is up. The Viper is here. They will Shrine up. Where's the Lifestealer? The Global Silence will be dodged by the Timbersaw's Yule Scepter, but he's going to land and still be silenced, but the Darkseer purges it off with the Guardian Greaves, lands another really nice wall, but they're going to disengage cleanly away from this. HFN is going to shred them all with the Stone Gaze, with the Split Shot, is doing so much damage. Benyaz looking for a target, will try to go for HFN right now. He's not doing all that much, though. Another one is going to die one more time, and now Benyaz, he needs a Slardar here. He needs another stun. He needs a basher. He needs something. He's going to get surged forward, going for Tekka. We'll find that kill. Kill Rats is going to teleport back home, but he still will die to King RD's nuke. The Lifestealer did so much damage there, but the Medusa is starting to really kick into high gear now in the late game. Level 25. They couldn't kill her. They couldn't even touch her.
They have no... If Medusa is stunned, Lifestealer can kill her. But there was no one. Slaughter was dead, and I'm not sure what Ruben was doing. He was making some kind of escape, and I see what he steals, and it's empowering haste again. It seems to be a bit of a problem for him that he's not stealing good spells. However, there aren't many good spells to steal. Let's be honest here. It's like global is not stealable realistically, you know.
Is Viper Strike?
Charge is not good. Viper Strike is okay, but Medusa has Manta and Lincolns. So, like, he can Manta dodge that, and Batrider, you're not getting last for most. Like, even if you get how you're gonna initiate, you don't have a blink. So I can't blame him for not stealing anything good. It's a first pick Rubik. You're not really expecting it to be a steal hero, but if he can have a bit more impact than he has had the last 2 fights, it could be the deciding factor in this game.
I don't know, Bat Rider's going to jump in. Open Wounds will kind of cancel this initiation, but he pops the BKB and he'll be fine. And the Slardar will be dropped. Lots of damage being done to Tekka right now. Benya's now going to think about going for a Tomb. Damage, though, not quite landing on the Viper as he does scoot up to the high ground. Another Timber Chain and Yule Scepter are all here. They're going to fight in the Shrine. Not a good idea, guys. You have to back off. And that's another buyback on the Slardar. He will never get an item in this game.
No. It's such a big problem as well, you know. If he had a 4-stat there, or I guess if he had a Lotus he wouldn't survive, but maybe survive a bit more at least. He would have survived with a 4-stat, and maybe if he had a Lotus, that Rider would have to die for the kill, you know. These buybacks are costing.
Oh, Matthew's kind of trying to pull the Spirit Breaker in. Dominic, with that buyback, really wants to get something going right now. He does have the Lifestealer inside of him, but everyone else from DC just making a little bit of a pocket so that they will be able to catch someone. Another one. And the Courier, first of all, will be dropped. Viper Strike stolen. It's a guaranteed steal whenever you're playing Rubik versus Viper. You will always steal Viper Strike. As long as he's level 6 and casted that before. But the Bat Rider, he's got the lasso there. Looking at a Tomb, but the Slardar again is going to get pulled in. Needs some help with the vacuum. It's going to get combo broken again. And the Darkseer, he will be able to purge it off and drop the wall eventually. But they're ready to use the Slardar, and he can't even drop his ultimate. Everyone else is going to try to leave, but DC.SA are not going to let them escape freely. Young Woo is going to get hit with the charge. A couple more Reduce right clicks with the Mask of Madness. Really turned on in the back. 3 kills, and DC now with an 8k, 9k lead, looking at 10k lead. It looks like the game might just be over in favor of DC because I don't know how Infamous are supposed to fight these heroes anymore.
This is gonna be 2 lanes of racks at least, I think. I don't know if they can hold it with these 2 heroes. I'm pretty sure DC's SA is just gonna run to bottom lane and get that lane, and then they're gonna have to fall back, I think. They might be heading to Rogue straight after this, because that's about the same kind of play. They are drawing to push top. That seems like the worst idea out of the 3 options they have.
Well, they don't know that Roche is up yet.
I think they're probably gonna scout it by killing the Shrine, you know. But they kinda... This was pretty slow. They could have been in Rogue with 5 people right now if they wanted to.
They're gonna take that chance. Last time, Roche did give Infamous a pretty good fight. Slardar blinked forward. Mass TPs coming to the front lines. A surge on the Slardar without a payload of a Lifestealer. Luckily for the Slardar, he doesn't find a target. They'll see Matthew wander on by. Crush is gonna land. In the middle of nowhere, this Spirit Breaker may be a free kill. The Shiva's Guard is popped. Force Staff out a couple times. Vacuum Wall this time gonna land perfectly in the middle of DC, but they are gonna buy back on the Spirit Breaker. And Dominic, he's gonna drop as well. They don't have any more stuns. And they've also caught the Timbersaw with the Petrify. He's going to get Force Staffed out. Benya is now going to think about going in towards HFN, but into the Medusa. You can see how little damage he's actually doing right now. He needs more stuns. He needs more control. He's going to decide to go for a tune as everyone else on the team is kind of on this low ground, looking for perhaps Matthew one more time. No, they're going to try to follow with this Timbersaw, but a quick blink out. He's going to get everyone else from DC back to safety, except for Matthew, who's in the middle of nowhere, but he has a charge to the bottom lane. There is a vacuum to cancel it, but they can't find him.
Oh, that would have been a dieback and they could have rogue shot of it. That was close. That was like the wall that's like the best position, you know, in this area where you can just stand if you want. That's Infamous, so it was pretty sick. But I think Slardar died early, right? He didn't get a crush on to follow up. Is there Shiva's up? There's finally a Shiva's up. I don't think he had that, because Shiva's is like a pseudo Slardar crush at least.
They're going in one more time. They found a tune. Hurricane Pike is going to get him out to safety. The Global Silence is dropped. Vacuum. Again, no wall. They already used it. The Slardar will be, again, focused down first. And he will not be able to get anything done, but they will also try to focus down the Medusa in the meantime. She does not have a Stone Gaze. She's taking a lot of damage, but is it going to be enough? They don't have enough disables. Benya is now kited between Poison and Frost from the Eye of Scotty. Another one's going to try to take out the Medusa, but he's out of mana. Benya's trying to go for a tune now, surged up, but again, the Force Staff play coming in for DC. He's going to try to go for Tekka. Another Force Staff out. 2 more shots will get the kill. And can he escape this? Viper doesn't have a ton of mana either. He only has a couple more poison attacks left. Timbersaw now on top of a tune. Charge in onto Benjaz. He does have an armlet. Open Wounds is there. He's going to start right-clicking a creeper to get a little more life. So he'll get the kill with the vacuum back. King RD now caught on the wall. He's going to get the kill on Benjaz, though, as he fails his armlet toggle, I think. He'll charge right back in. Matthew's going to make another illusion of himself, but man, King RD's dishing right now. 50 intelligence stolen, that's exactly why. Is this going to be game? Because they don't have a dark sword.
I don't think I've seen this much intelligence stolen from a silencer in a game that's kind of like even, you know. Oh, that was so clutch by Ben just to, like, you know, hit the nair troll to get that extra 300 HP.
Oh, woo. Bro.
Oh god.
Well, he's dead.
Can they? Okay, so Lifestealer has buyback. Who's infested? No, wait, I saw it was a charge icon. I thought that was the infest icon for some reason. Okay, do they need to buy? I think they have to buy back, right?
Well, Slardar sure as hell not going to hold this by himself. With the Chakram missing, with only one Chakram, they are going to buy on the Lifestealer. He's going to get him pretty quickly, but HFN does have the Stone Gaze, and he does have the additional stun talent, so that's going to be a hell of a long time with these heroes are just chilling there. Benjaz still trying to chase in. There is no Nether Strike. He does get a first hit bash, though. Now the lasso coming in onto the Lifestealer. Infest might save him here. Damage to HFN is not good enough. Benjaz looking desperately to steal some life. Is going to get some Bloodstone heal. Now trying to go for Matthew. Trying to go for everyone by himself, but he's in fact by himself. He's down, and that's game.
Yeah.
Matthew's going to call it first. But, you know, everyone knows it was game.
Wow.
Benjaz is going to leave.
Okay.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, guys. DC.SA playing the late game angle with the Medusa. And Infamous, they had to flip so many coins in this game. We saw a couple come up heads, we saw a couple come up tails, but unfortunately they just didn't get enough of those brilliant team fights. A couple more could have made the difference, but it did seem like their supporting crew failed to scale into the late game performance-wise.
I mean, say what you say, but it was a pretty exciting game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna take out of it. I think it was a bit. I think Benjaz could have maybe chilled a little bit at the end because Darkseid was spawning, and if he, like, let's say he got back and survived for 5 more seconds, there could have been a foreman wall, and maybe infested something and got HP, and they could have maybe made a hold. But even then, the game was looking hard at that point.
Major downside of the Lifestealer scene here, countered pretty hard by Force Staves and Ghost Scepters. Feels pretty bad, but Infamous Young still put up a decent fight. And they do have that free win because DC.SA were so late to this first match. But now we're going to go into a Game 3. DC.SA taking a long, drawn-out game, but a win is a win nonetheless. And we'll see if they can 2-0 Infamous Young here, or if Infamous Young can win just one game against DC.SA. Guys, I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Kefka. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a little bit.